right? I'm logged in here as a NetSuite administrator. And from there, we're able to go into this NSAW configuration screen. So we can see here that we have the NSAW user management. So again, like Jeff said earlier, we're able to add users that aren't necessarily NetSuite users into the NSAW instance. So they don't have to have a NetSuite license in order to be able to access this. We have the NSAW data transfer setup. So this allows us to decide which parts of NetSuite do we want to share and push into the NSAW instance. We also have the ability down here to go in and control the administration as well. We can also make sure it's running, it's up to date, we can check the status. And so that kind of gives us a better understanding and overview of what's going on with our NSAW instance, because we want to make sure the information is definitely being pushed over. So whenever we click and we actually open up our NSAW instance, this is what we first see when you first come onto the screen. We see our favorite cards, our favorite links. So this is kind of similar to what you would see with your dashboard, right? You're able to go in and customize these cards and links and pick out what you want to be focusing on for your role specifically. So with here, we're able to go in and we can see that we have little tabs over here on the left. So we have the different decks, the KPIs, the projects, the data, and then of course the console inside the analytics warehouse. So by clicking into the decks, we're able to see the different decks that we have already set up with inside the analytics warehouse. Now, I didn't have to go in and build all this. The NetSuite Analytics Warehouse already had this already pre-built inside the system. So as soon as I push my data over from the NetSuite instance, it's already started populating all these visualizations with that information. So I didn't have to go in and have to figure out, okay, I want it to look like this, I want it to do that. The benefit is that it's already there. It's already pre-built and you don't have to go in and try to figure that out yourself. So within this procurement deck, we can see that we have different vendor spend analysis, purchase orders, payments. And so we get a good idea of what's going on between our vendors and our purchases, so we can see what's going on there. We have an order management tab. From here, we can see what's going on with our sales orders, our fulfillments. We're making sure we're staying up to date. If there's any overdue invoices that we need to be checking on. So we can see those right at the top, right in front of us, so we don't have to go digging for that information. It's already pre-built for you and ready to go. We can look at different items within the inventory inside the analytics warehouse. And so it's loading our information. So we can see what we have with the different inventories based off our different locations, right? So we're able to see what's going on within the inventory transfers, any inventory counts or adjustments, turnover, things like that. So we're able to, again, have these visualizations. We can go into our sales overview tab, so we can see what's going on there versus like wins and losses. So as a person that's going to be in more charge of sales management, this is something that's going to be more important for them, right? I want to be able to see this as the top. So this could be something that they could set as a top priority for them to be able to view. And then we can go into the financial overview. So we can see what's going on with our COGS analysis, the receivables, and the different payable analysis. Now you have the option of actually going in and clicking into these and viewing them a little bit more in detail. You also have the option of going into customizing them as well, if that's what you want to do. You can change the filters to make sure it is showing what it is that you want to focus on. So that's what's great, is that it's already pre-built. You don't have to go in and rebuild. You don't have to go in and rebuild it. And you can customize it to your specific role inside your NetSuite instance. Another thing after the decks is the different KPIs. So just like NetSuite, it comes with all these pre-built KPIs already ready to go for you. So the last count I had here was just over 31 included. And of course, you can go in and create new ones. So you don't just have to rely off those already created for you. So you can create ones that are more in tune to what you're going to want to focus on. So you're able to have that simple ability without having to have any extensive knowledge of what it is. Once we have after going into the KPIs, we can go into the projects. And when we open up our projects, we can see the different folders that we're working on, right? So we can see these are the folders that we've created and that we've wanted to focus on. So this is going to be my data. If there's information that I wanted to share with other people inside the system, I could create a shared folder. So everyone's NetSuite Analytics Warehouse instance is going to look different because it's going to be based off what they create and what they want to see. So I can see what my folders are, and then I can also see that we have shared folders between me and certain users within my instance. So we can make sure that that information gets passed around to those that we want to be able to access it. Another thing is being able to access all the data, right? So we can see that these little purple squares down here, we can look and we can see that everything pretty much has the word NetSuite in front of it, which means that this is coming straight from NetSuite. So this is all the information that's automatically being pushed over. And as you can see, there's a lot of it that's automatically being pushed over from your NetSuite instance. So you're able to really be able to dive into a lot more detail just based off of all this information. Again, you don't have to use all this information. You can focus on what's important to you. You also have the option of doing different connections. So I started playing around with this yesterday, and what I did was I tried out to see how easy it would be to create a new connection. So what I did was I was able to actually link my Google Drive for predictive into my NSAW or NSAW instance. And from there, I was actually able to go in and see which ones I had already created. So I'd already had some documentation for my NSAW of just some different data that I wanted to play with. So as you can see, these are CSV files that are inside my Google Drive instance. But in NSAW, I'm able to just click and drag. And then what happens is that we can see that it will automatically populate a table for us. So I don't have to go into Excel. I don't have to go in and try to do anything else to view this data. It's just already here for me, and it's also saved in this instance. So the Analytics Warehouse isn't just for analyzing, it's also for storing all of that data. So this really gives us an additional place to have and keep that information in there. And so we can see we have current sales data here for different years. We can also see if we wanted to add something else, we can add it here, and we can create an additional table. So we can try to link them together to see what's going to be the overlapping things so that we can combine them and better analyze them and what's going on between them. So we're able to do current sales versus historical. And so that kind of provides us with a little bit more information. So we have this join diagram that we're on now. And then if we wanted to, we could go back into and we can see all the breakdown of the information. And then we also have the breakdown here. Now, what's also great about the Analytics Warehouse are these little recommendations. So it's already able to look at this join diagram and figure out what are some things that I might want to be able to extract from this data. So it can tell you how to do it for you. So you can be able to extract just by selecting. I'm going to let them answer the Q&A there. Just by selecting and being able to go in and make those changes based off those recommendations. So we'll do those recommendations for you. So if we wanted to go back and create a new connection, all we'd have to do is we could go in and we have the options here of our different create options. And we could look at the different connections available. So right now there's 41 different connections that are already pre-built. So say you have your Salesforce data or your Google Drive data or Dropbox, Google Analytics. So all of these are already pre-built connectors. So you don't have to go in and do the connection. All I have to do is what I was able to do with my Google Drive was just be able to populate this information. And I was able to easily do that just through my Google Drive connector. I didn't have to deal with any coding or any information like that. It was something I was able to figure out on my own. I'm not a super technical person. And it was easy to be able to make that connection and then have the information populate over. A question about the live data. I did actually go into my Google Drive itself and make a change to like the way it was set up. And when I went back into the NSAW instance and I refreshed it, it showed that change. So it did show it from the Google Drive instance. Regarding the NSAW NetSuite data, that gets pushed over on a daily basis. It's typically overnight, but you get to set that within the admin controls. So we also have the option of adding in more. So we can add more connections, do different data flows, sequences, replications. And so you have all those options and ability there. Now, as you can see, my little dashboard over here on the left side changed. And what happened was we left the original analytics warehouse, right? So we have this original analytics warehouse. And what we've now joined is the Oracle Analytics, right? So when I click on Home now, it's going to take me into that Oracle Analytics home. So we can see here all of my most recent things that we've been working on, the favorites, as well as all the different workbooks. So these are all the workbooks that are included within your NSAW instance. Now, again, you don't have to go in and create these. These are automatically created for you as the data gets pushed over. And you can also go in and add more legacy data to these to make sure that you're getting all the information you want inside. And you can also add the connectors here as well. So we can look at some of the item sales data here that was already created for us. And we can see the details here. We can actually go in and we can edit this information. And when we go in to edit, we'll notice that it looks kind of similar to Excel, right? So it looks like an Excel kind of pivot table type thing, where you're able to go in and drag and drop different filters and kind of customize this information. So we can see here that we have NetSuite sales order data that's automatically included. Now, if we wanted to add like Google Analytics data, or if we wanted to add an additional data table into this information, we could. So focusing on this one, because it's already pre-built with our NetSuite connection, we can see, this is some of the things about the top 10 items sold. It provides me a little bit of visualizations, but probably not as much as I would probably want to be able to better understand the data. But we can look at the different options here. So we can look at the different charts that we can create inside of the NetSuite Analytics Warehouse. Again, just like Excel, you have all these different options to be able to kind of customize and manipulate the data. And so we have different visualizations. You can add additional functions, things like that. So you can create your own to make it more customized to you. So let's go ahead and let's talk about this company that we created with Playtique. So again, focusing on these sales order data. So Playtique is like this boutique firm, right? So they are going to be looking at, so I could be in the role of a brand manager, and they're going to be looking at trying to figure out what is going to be the next location for a pop-up shop. So I want to visually be able to see what's going on with my sales orders by location. I want to be able to see what the trends are going to be as far as timing. I want to make sure that the locations are good, the timing is good, the items that we're going to be pushing. We want to make sure that those are going to be the items that are going to be selling the best. So we really want to look at these things. So here we can see we're able to have this visualization of a map. So it's not very often that you get to look at a map and see data attached to it. So we can see what the things they're doing. So we can see that California has a really high rate, and New York also has a really high rate. No surprise, California and New York are having really high sales rates. But also we can see in here is that Arizona. So we wouldn't probably think top of our mind, Arizona is going to be a big seller, but in this instance it is. So we may want to consider opening up a new pop-up shop within the Southwest, because we can see that a lot of our sales are trending more in the Southwest than in the Northeast. We can see which items are going to be selling the best, and then the top 10 states that are going to be performing as well. So we can kind of look at those. As far as timing goes, we want to see how things are going over a period of time. So we can kind of figure out there was some differences between May and June of 2022. What happened during those months? Why was there suddenly an increase in sales? Was it because we were able to put on some more clearance? Was that the reason why? So we're able to go in and kind of visualize what's going on a little bit better than what we can just by looking at data on a table. Okay. So we can go back into our item fulfillments. And this shows us our top 10 and our bottom 10 items. So down at the bottom, we have our two different canvas tabs we can look at. So this is one canvas. And again, we can look at these top 10 items. And this is going to be important to me because I want to make sure when I'm doing my pop-up shop that I'm selling those items there. So we can really focus on what those items are. And we can also focus on the locations. So again, we see that the Southwest is probably going to be a good location for me to have this location. And then we want to look at the timing. So we want to make sure that we're doing this at the right time of year. And then we want to look at the different, we're going to be hosting inventory items versus the shipping cost of the item. That's another information you can have there. Let's look at the bottom 10 items. So we can figure out why are these in the bottom 10. Maybe we should look at replacing these items, modifying these items, seeing what the difference is between the top 10 and the bottom 10 items. Why are these in the top and why are those in the bottom? So we can look at these trends and kind of get a better understanding of what our customers are wanting and preferring, and making sure that we're really meeting our customers' needs. So we're able to go in and look at the different data. Of course, we're able to add nice, pretty colorful charts within the analytics warehouse. And again, if we wanted to go in and edit or modify this data, we're able to go ahead and just click this little edit button. And again, we have this wonderful insight button. This one's just populated off of NetSuite, so it doesn't want to give me that extra insight. But we have the option of adding more additional insights to the data that we put in inside the system. So this we can kind of see, we can modify here, we can see what's going on. So we have the option of just looking at the data itself, if we want to just look at the data and kind of see what's going on there. From there, we can go into the more visualization and then into the actual presentation. So if we want to go ahead and be able to show our, we want to be able to show our leadership to support our claims and to support the sales data. We want to be able to show that information. So that really kind of helps with being able to present our case. So we're able to go in and show these are what's performing the best, this is what's performing the worst, and it won't take that much effort on your part to be able to create these things. And again, this is not just for the everyday NetSuite user. This is for all different types of people that work at the company. So they don't have to be a NetSuite user to allow the instance. Does it also allow forecasting based on past data? So yeah, you can add the prior data into your NetSuite instance, and then you can have those analyzed and compared side by side. And so you can be able to look at the different trends based off the prior and the current. If we wanted to, I hope that kind of answered your question there. But if we also wanted to look at different like revenue and expenses going on, so we can see like our revenue is increasing, which is great. These are all positive things. And our expenses are kind of staying the same. We can look at what department is actually putting out the most in the expenses. So we can see the administration department is probably charging lunch too many times to the expense account. So we might want to slow them down with their expenses. But we can see that sales is actually on the lower side, as well as operations and marketing. So maybe they should get a higher budget towards expenses, and then we should cut the administration's expenses. So this is something we can look at just based off these visualizations. We're able to come to these conclusions without having to go through a lot of data to be able to analyze and have these visualizations. We can also see in the months that we're having the different things. So we can figure out whether or not it's the time of year, what's going on, if that may be an influence, as well as like the different budgets that they're going to be charging to. So these are all things that we're able to have within this analytics warehouse view. Let's see. That was about it. So we can go into, if we wanted to go ahead and create a new workbook, what we could do is we can go ahead and add our data that we want to create with it. And then from there, we can just, it's already telling me these are some of the insights that we found might be able to best help you. So being able to look at these insights, we can see, okay, this is going to give you this visualization, and this is what it can help for. So that's really great for being able to help. And just by clicking on them, we should be able to add them into our instance. And so it's automatically populated for us. So I don't have to go in and try to figure that out. So I can look at the best visualizations that will benefit me and add those straight into my account. So that makes it even easier to try to, instead of having to figure out Do I want this one? Do I want that one? You don't have to just sit here and do the drag and drop. You can just go off of what it's telling you and kind of help. And then you can add and change the filters here as well. So if we needed to change the filters, we could create custom filters as well, so we can better understand the data and what's going on.